for a moment that you're in high school and tonight is the band awards. You are a little bit nervous because you are going to actually be getting an award, so you know you're going to be up on stage. You walk into the high school and you're like walking down the hallway and you notice that everybody else is dressed up, and you look down at what you're wearing and you're like t-shirt, jeans, slightly worn out sneakers, and like this feeling of dread swoops in and you feel like all of your blood has been taken from your body and dumped into the deep freeze before it was thrown back into you. You don't remember the teacher saying anything about this. Why didn't they say something? You think that this would be an important thing to know. We're going to be dressing up tonight. Even if you haven't experienced that exact thing, you know what I'm talking about because you have your own story of showing up somewhere completely unprepared, whether it be because you forgot or because you just simply didn't know. So when I was referring to that feeling of dread and panic, you knew exactly what I was talking about. This feeling of outright terror and trepidation is common for a fair percentage of the population. Some of them have a form of high-functioning autism, but some of them are just ordinary people with anxiety and trouble dealing with new experiences. People in this situation are often held back from living their best life because many common life situations are just not intuitive. Hey friend, it's Amy on A Volley Life. And the world would be a better place if there were more people like you. It's the things that make you different that make you so amazing. I'm creating a social skills guide playlist that will take you step by step through a particular experience, like say, getting the oil changed in your car, picking up a prescription, filling up with gas. So you can learn how to handle some of those common life situations that might not feel so easy or intuitive for you. In this video, I'm going to go over 3 things to help someone with high anxiety in new or just normal situations. Number 1, we need to accept them where they are and help them move forward at a pace that they're comfortable with. Or maybe only slightly uncomfortable with, because you will have to nudge them out of their comfort zone. When you recognize that someone is having trouble dealing with a new situation, or you know that they are going to have trouble dealing with a new situation, be okay with it. Understand that those feelings are real. They aren't trying to be difficult. Don't get upset if they can't explain why they're having trouble or feeling anxious. It's hard to explain something that you might not even understand yourself. Anxiety often isn't a logical thing, and you cannot logic yourself out of a situation that you never logicked yourself into. Accepting that there's a problem does not mean that you're accepting that there's nothing you can do about it. Because there is something you can do about it. You can systematically teach them how to handle the situation, but it usually is not a short, easy process. Number 2. Well, that was 4. Number 2, it might take them longer to get there, but that does not mean that they cannot do it. There's a difference between pushing too hard and pushing enough to help them move forward. You need to figure out where that line is for your specific situation, because it's going to be different from person to person, and it's often different from one situation to another. Despite having trouble dealing with a situation does not mean that you should let them withdraw from life entirely. And they don't actually want that, despite the fact that they think that they may want that at the moment. Everyone feels better when they're capable of doing the things that are necessary for them to be independent. But it has to be okay for them to take longer to get there. They say that babies and toddlers often have to experience a food a dozen times before they develop a taste for it. Just because they say that they hate it now does not mean that they will hate it forever. I can remember saying that I hated cantaloupe, and I did hate cantaloupe as a child, but yet I love it now. So remember this concept, because I'm going to come back to it in just a minute. The typical person only has to experience a situation 1 to 3 times. I practiced that so that I could do it because it's hard. Anyway. A typical person only has to experience a situation 1 to 3 times before they get the hang of it. And often, they can just wing it with just a few questions answered. Just like a toddler telling you that they hate graham crackers doesn't mean that they're always going to hate graham crackers, same thing's true in this situation. Just because a neurally diverse person isn't able to handle a situation doesn't mean that they won't ever be capable of handling it independently. They can learn, it just takes them longer and requires a little different learning environment. We all need a good friend, but this kind of neurally diverse group, they often can't figure it out on their own. They need a friend to help guide them through. They benefit from having someone help them figure out what to expect and how to manage different situations and obstacles. They'll need a more immersive learning experience to be able to handle it on their own. Take them with you when you go so they can become more familiar with what to expect. Talk them through the situation. Let them know step by step what's happening. After they've had several experiences with a situation, have them handle it. And you're just like riding along. You're just like for company. They're in charge. It will probably take them several experiences on each step, maybe more than several experiences on each step, before they feel comfortable with it. But when they do, after they feel comfortable doing it on their own with a parent or partner there, then have them try it solo. And if being solo is a little too much, maybe have them try it, have them bring a friend so they're doing it on their own, but they're not actually alone. The videos in my social skills guide series can help speed up this learning process because they can watch the video multiple times, as many times as they need to feel comfortable with any particular step. And because I point out very small, minute steps that you might not think to point out to them that would be important. I'd appreciate it if you would share this video and playlist with somebody else that you think might find this helpful, because I know that when you're in these circumstances where you're dealing with these things, you feel very alone, especially when you don't know what to do. And so when you can provide some, help or information, sometimes it's more than just a little helpful, and even though it's a little thing that you're doing. When you're not afraid to be yourself is when you're the most incredible. And I will see you next time on A Lolly Life.